Welcome back to another episode of the Navs Effect podcast. I'm your host, Naveen Ganglani. Thanks to those who tuned in to our last two episodes this week. If you missed it, on Monday we did a review of the F1 movie that has hit the big cinemas in the Philippines. And on Wednesday, we just spoke with a new recruit of the UST Growling Tigers, Colin Sakoe. This podcast, we're recording this on a Wednesday as well, but it comes out on a Friday. I have on Coach Sean Chambers to discuss the future of the FEU Tamaraws basketball program, including some of the recent movements. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly with Coach Sean. It's going to be a fun episode. Okay, we're now back with Coach Sean Chambers here on the podcast. This is, I believe, the third time we get to have Coach Sean Chambers on the Navs Effect podcast. He is here now, a few months away from his second campaign with FEU. Coach Sean, how is the preparations going for UAAP Season 88?
I think the guys are doing a good job right now. They're dialed into what we're trying to get accomplished for this upcoming season. We're getting players stepping up in positions that they weren't used to, and it's been a very enjoyable preseason so far.
Enjoyable is right. How's the Filoil experience helped the team? Have there been ups and downs? What are you looking forward to working on?
What is our record now? I think we're at 3-1, I think. We
I,
have Sal coming up in NU on Sunday, LaSalle Friday, NU on Sunday. So we want to finish strong in those two games. I think we've been playing really good basketball in the Filoil. So the Filoil's been solid. At first I was not super happy with playing teams in our league in preseason because that's just not something we're used to doing in the States. You don't want to show your hand and show them everything that you do or allow them to prepare against you in the States. So you don't play teams in your conference or teams in your league in the U.S. And that's something that was new for me to get used to here, but there has been some benefits to it. And so I kind of embrace it now. But at first, I wasn't super excited about it. I wanted to play a lot of teams that's not in our league so we can work on some new things, so that makes sense. But
yeah, yeah.
I'm adjusted to this kind of preparation here in the Philippines.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been curious how you prepare for something like that, a Filoil game, a preseason game, because you obviously don't want to reveal all your sets. You don't want to bring out the entire playbook, and naturally, you're gonna add some stuff as the season comes along. But you don't want to reveal too much because coaches tend to look at player tendencies and team tendencies, and you keep those notes in the back pocket for when you eventually face them in the future, right? But at the same time, too, you don't want to take away the competitive edge of your players. You don't want to not put them in the best position to win games because you know that can build their confidence and that can get the community excited. So, how do you exactly prepare for a preseason game compared to a regular
Yeah,
UAP game?
yeah, it's a fine line because you want to go out there and you want to play to win no matter what you do. And so you get caught up like, do you show your full hand? Do you start working on things that you've been working on in practice? Or do you try to hold on to it? Um, and the coaches are so good here, they're all going to watch video, they're all going to watch film. So if you show too much, what are you going to have ready to do? What are you going to have in your back pocket for the UAAP season? So it's a fine line. But I felt like the NCAA teams are just as competitive. They just like having an import. So I was really pushing for my staff to keep setting up scrimmages with, teams from the NCAA.
You set up scrimmages against teams in the NCAA, even if they don't have an import. What do you see as the benefit of going up against these teams without imports? How does that prepare your team in a league where there are imports?
Well, they're very physical for the first part. And I think they're allowed to be super physical with the imports because they don't have one. So which is fine. Um, I believe that they're very competitive. Like those guys they're hungry and they're feeling like they're just recruit away from being in the UAP. So therefore, you're getting their best a lot of times when you play against the NCAA teams.
Which NCAA teams have surprised you so far in the off-season games and scrimmages you've played or your team has played?
Um, I was impressed. I mean, they're all good. We Vanille, we played them about 2 months ago, and I'm not sure, I forget, with the Asia basketball. They're solid. Of course, Sam Bennett is solid. JRU's got those two freshman guards that are terrific. And we just played Latran again. Latran is they got the kid that can really shoot the balls and really dynamite. I
Yeah,
think
you guys faced JRU in an off-season tournament, and from what I heard, Sean Salvador of JRU played really well. Was he impressive?
Sean's pretty impressive. I like that he had the same spelling as my name, and I told him I'm sure his mother named him after me during my playing careers. But kid's pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie. I'm surprised he's not at the UAP. Not playing in the UAAP because he's pretty good.
Speaking of the UAAP, UST just picked up another impressive win today. They dispatched the UE Red Warriors, and like we said in the opening, they just brought Colin Sokoe to the roster. Now, LaSalle has also had an impressive stint. You guys went up against UP. UP scored that victory before they went to Serbia. And, with a coach like Nash Rosell, you assume Adamson to be competitive. With a coach like Jeff Napa, you assume NU to be competitive. So, in Ateneo, we saw in the Asia Basket, they're vastly improved. So, with all that said, where do you feel FEU fits in the equation right now?
Well, again, Naveen, what's our record right now?
You're 3-1 in Filoil.
We beat UST, we beat Adamson, we beat UE. We were leading UP at halftime. So I'll let you be the expert to that. We'll see how we finish up with LaSalle and when we finish up with NU these last two games. But considering the situation, again, I don't want to speak much on VJ, but I think we're doing a tremendous job right now. And just imagine if he was still in the fold.
So, do you feel your boys rallied around that? And that has
No,
translated to
no,
the court?
no, no. We just moved on. We just moved on. Next man up, and that's my motto. That's what the message I wanted to practice. It's next man up mentality. And we have a dynamite player in Kirby. I don't even know how to pronounce Kirby's last name still. So it's so
What do you
long.
call it? If you had to say, do you just call him rookie now instead?
Kirby M, but that's where I'm getting at. Kirby, I think, is the front runner for Rookie of the Year.
That
Kirby's
would
talent.
mean two straight rookie of the years from FEU if that does
Yeah.
happen.
Kirby's talented. He's super talented. And he's very skilled and got a great feel for the game. So he's still not quite 100%. I think he's playing about 80%, but he's getting there. So we're excited what the future holds for Kirby, as well as Liam. And people remember Luke Felipe didn't get to play last year. So Luke is back in the roster mix. And so Luke is a tremendous talent as well.
So I have two questions for you now. One is, how significant do you feel Phil Oil wins are? Because earlier I got to speak to someone at the game and they said, yeah, that's a good win. Speaking of one of the teams that won, but of course that's Phil Oil. It's not the main league. But to you, how important are these Phil Oil victories early on? And number two, I know you didn't come to the Philippines after your playing career just to be part of the UAP. You came here to win with the same mindset you had with the Alaska Aces back in the day. So given that you guys came close to the Final Four last year, is the Final Four the goal this year?
Yeah, of course the Final Four is the main goal, but I come here to win it. I don't want to be just Final Four. I want to win championships. So Final Four, great. I don't think that needs to be our barometer. We need to figure out a way to dethrone the top two teams. They're playing at a different level, and they're playing with a, how do I say, different set of I don't. They're playing at a different level than the other teams. The rest of us are on the same pack. So the Final Four is not the do all for me. It's here to win championships, and that's the mindset. Because if you're playing just for the Final Four and you have a bad stint, you're going to start crumbling it because you feel like you're not getting to where you want to get to. But you have to have a mindset for the finals, the championships, and then at the Final Four, that's going to be an the Final Four, you have to get to the Final Four in order to get to the championship. So I don't want the Final Four to be our barometer because what you're saying is If we get to the Final Four, then we stop playing, or we're satisfied, or do we continue to try to win? Right? That cannot be our barometer. But going to the Filoil, respect to the the directors of the league and people who put this together to have the team play against each other in an early part of the season. But nobody is going to say, hey, you beat UST in the Filoil. So therefore, it's automatic win when you play in the
The
UAP season.
UAP.
It doesn't carry over like that. So yeah, it's good to win, but it's done and over when you get to the regular season. So I don't, I'm not sure it carries any overweight other than your familiarity with those teams. So you're getting to see what they do. You see what their habits are, their good habits, bad habits. I think that's the whole benefit of playing teams in our league in the off season. Once again, I wasn't a fan of it because it's just not what you do. You don't have Michigan play against Michigan State in preseason practice or UCLA and USC. They don't play against each other in a summer league. They'll go play other teams, but never teams in your same league. You get two chances to beat me, and that's it. And when you think about football, it's one game and done. You don't get a second chance. So I had to shift my mindset to get used to this kind of format.
We're joined by Sean Chambers, head coach of the FEU Tamaraws. If you guys are liking this podcast episode so far, like, subscribe, share it, comment. Make sure you do that if you haven't yet. Okay, Coach Sean, so some big news drop on Tuesday, July 1. Same time as the NBA free agency, coincidentally. But Zayn Mahmood, who it's been in
Yes.
the works for quite a bit now, he finally officially has joined the FEU Tamaraws. He spent 1 year at UST. Of course, you know Zayn from your time being a coach in the United States. He will have 2 years of playing eligibility beginning season 89 next year. So, what does Zayn bring to the FEU men's basketball team? He'll have to do a year of residency, but you expect him to be an impact player when he gets on the court.
So really, we thought we had Zane last year. I think you were kind of in that conversation when we were recruiting him, and we thought it was pretty much a done deal. But then UST came in, swept him under our, kind of got him from
You
underneath us.
you you thought you might get Alex too, right? For a
We
while, it
thought we
looked
had
like.
Alex was a done deal as well. Alex was a done deal. Zane was a done deal, to my understanding. Then also some other programs that came in were able to whatever provide something that we can completely provide for them at the time. Should I say, put it like that? I
Made a
don't know.
pitch. We can say it. Made a pitch.
Get a little deeper pitch than college athletics, money and being able to match some of those pitches. That's just not where we're at. We want. I don't even. I'm still learning this aspect of the game for us as well. But anyways, Zane is a tremendous talent, super athletic. He's a great body. He's gonna slide right into that four position for us when he comes back. He has a high basketball IQ. Everything that I wanted from him last year. Today was his first practice with us. It was everything that I wanted to see. And then what he loves about us and what he loves about FU is the empowerment that I'm going to put him in a place to go empower him and then allow him to let his skills show for itself. Again, like BJ, John Ray, put him in a situation where they can be successful, and then let him go.
Do you see him getting better in certain areas? What aspects do you want him to improve on?
Um, I want him to be because our forward position kind of helps initiate our offense. So I want him to take full lead with that, embrace it, because he's kind of been a role player with USC last year when he did play. I want him to be willing to shoot the 3-point ball because with Mo Konate out there, we need to space the court. And Mo's just playing tremendous basketball right now. So I see him being a great complementary to Mo.
Mo was probably the most underrated player in the UAP college division last year for the numbers he was putting up, the impact on the court, what he was doing, and all of that. He wasn't a true freshman, but he was a rookie. It was his first season in the UAAP too. So he was still able to be impactful, and I think he's gonna be even more impressive entering his second season. So what can you say about the improvement you've seen in Mo and some of his other teammates, such as Jorik, who's now more of a veteran player, John Ray coming in his second season, Felipe, like you said, who missed a lot of last season. Who else should we look out for?
Jedrick Dawes playing better basketball. We're getting him in the mix. Um, Rojan Monteor.
Mm-mm.
Rojan actually played some significant minutes in the second half of the season. It became a big part of our rotation. He's playing great basketball. But we believe Mo is probably the most talented resident student athlete here. He's putting up like 23 points and 20 rebounds a game on a regular. And he does it with such grace and he does it the right way. He has a huge basketball IQ. He started off pretty raw, but the guy just continues to get better and better.
But you need a bench to succeed as well, especially in the college division. How's your bench looking right now?
Um, I think right now with our rotation, if you think about our coming off the bench right now, because we've been starting Jorik, John Ray, Jedrick, Aaron, and Mo.
Mm.
Coming off the bench has been Liam, who our rookie, who I love them. I absolutely love his game. Kirby's been coming off the bench, Luke, and then Rojan. And those four gets us to 9-man rotation. And then we still have a veteran in Ona, Cedric Ona. And then Jaden Jones has really been starting to figure it out the basketball game here in the Philippines, just getting used to the physicality and playing through it.
How
And
about
then
Adam?
Nakai, and Adam Nakai as well.
There you go. Exactly.
So you
So
got
you
12-man rotation there, which is a
there you
lot.
go.
That's a lot though, because I'm coming from a PBA mindset. I need my core guys to do their work, and the other guys kind of fill their role until they're the main guys. So um, I do believe my core guys are going to be playing about 25 minutes a game, if not more.
You know, I like how earlier you brought up the topic that you were still learning the ins and outs of college basketball to some degree, particularly the pitch and the money side of things, which we know exist in college basketball. Would it help a league like the UAAP to have something like the US NCAA called the NIL deal that has allowed college players to at least, from a public standpoint, transparency, help them earn money while they're in college? You think the Philippines could benefit from something like that?
Yes, it's a fine line because again, it's so new to me because I'm old school because I grew up in the days where we got our scholarship and that was it. So there needs to be some kind of a fine line or an understanding of how we can make sure all schools are playing on the same playing field. Right now, the U.S. has implemented a share revenue, so therefore, what one university can offer, we all can almost offer. Now they can go get NIL deals outside of that, but it somehow is trying to put us back on a fair playing field because and that would be benefit for our league because in order for our league to continue to be successful and have the glory days back in the earlier times.
My first two seasons covering the UAAP as media was 2014 and 2015. And the first year, 2014, was the season where FEU and NU made the UAAP finals. And there were some murmurs, not large. I mean, there was the side that said, "Thank God we're finally having a finals without LaSalle or Ateneo," and then there were those who were saying, "Oh, because there's no LaSalle Ateneo, it might not be super interesting," which wound up really far from the truth. It ended up being a really good three-game series. You
I was
had
there.
20 you were there too? Yeah,
I
exactly. I
was
think you
there.
hosted. Yeah. You had more than 25,000 people go to Araneta, probably hundreds of thousands more watching away from the arena. And then the year after that, FEU, who lost to NU in 2014, wins a three-game series against
Yes,
UST in another epic finals. I
I
remember
was
it
there as
was
well.
you
I
were
was at
there as
top of
well.
that. Yeah.
Exactly. And the
The gym
fans
was
were
sold out. I was at Mall of Asia. The gym was sold out.
sold out, absolutely sold out. Had drama, had storylines, and you
Yes.
could just see the pride in both communities. And since then, it's really been a three-team race. Now, to answer the question of parity, is it a matter of the other teams just saying we just have to beat these guys on the court? That's what it comes down to. We have to beat them on the court, right?
Sure, you got to figure out a way. You have to
Yeah.
figure out a way to make sure that we stay in the conversation for our fans and for our management. So, and our student body, we just got to figure out a way. No excuses. That's my message with my players.
Let's shift gears a bit to Gilas. There was an announcement today that the Philippine team will have a tune-up against the Macau Black Bears on July 28th, which will also play the role of a send-off before the Philippine team flies to Jeddah for the FIBA Asia Cup. Of course, a very challenging opening set of games against Iraq, Chinese Taipei, and New Zealand. Chinese Taipei and New Zealand, no strangers to you guys at this point. Coach, I have to say, I really, really like that you guys have faced New Zealand and Chinese Taipei a few times now because I
Exactly.
like how that familiarity it breeds some animosity, but it also breeds more challenging basketball because when you get to know the tendencies of your opponent, you get to prepare for them better, and it makes for better basketball on the court. Where do you think the team is now? I know you guys aren't practicing consistently yet, but in terms of like the mental preparation, you guys are probably talking about it. How is the team preparing right now?
Well, we just had our first Zoom meeting last Monday to try to get our game plan when we're going to start meeting them. Practice is starting on Mondays. So I think right now it's a bit challenging because everybody's in the Final Four right now, right? So you have the San Miguel guys, you have the Ginebra guys, and you have Calvin with Talking Tech. So a lot of those guys are all playing right now. Then you have KQ's in town, Carl Tamayo's in town, but then AJ's not here right now. So it's going to be interesting to get everybody back in the gym, but it's going to be hard because everybody's trying to win the PBA championship right now. So I'm sure when the PBA is over, we're going to be all ready to go because guys want to win. Guys want to perform better than what we did the last window. I do like that you said we're playing Chinese Taipei. We won't be surprised by their three-point shooting and a few other kids that were not there the last time we played them, like um, their um, their naturalized player was not there the last time we played him before this last game. So we were surprised by his ability to defend inside. And then also the kid, I believe he's from African descent, but he was born in Taipei and he plays as a local. And he was really good for them and he surprised us. So we won't be surprised by those pieces this time around.
And how about New Zealand? At this
Same with
point,
New Zealand.
yeah.
The last game against New Zealand, they added about 3 or 4 different players that we didn't see the last time we saw them in Manila. So those guys will be better prepared for them. The one guy was a stretch five, the shooter guy, really solid. Now we'll be able to defend him a lot better than we did the last time in New Zealand.
In a group setting like this where you have, I would say, two really good teams, Philippines and New Zealand, a pretty good team in Chinese Taipei, and maybe someone who is a little more of a wild card in Iraq. That game
Yes,
usually ends up being very dangerous.
yes,
There
you've
could
got
be
to
a
be
ten
careful.
there could be a tendency sometimes to be, and it's human. It's human nature. It's natural to think, okay, there's the big games against these two who we've faced
Sure.
a few times now. Oh wait, suddenly Iraq is up 33 to 18 in the second quarter or something like that. How do you avoid, falling asleep in a match? I know it sounds silly to say, but it's natural sometimes, right?
It's natural, and it's going to be like preparation from coaching staff to the players, how we're getting our mindset. Like it's more mental preparation than it's going to be X and O's. Like those are the games you have to fear the most. You have to
Absolutely.
put interest into. You got to put everything you fear the most in Iraq. You don't have to worry about with New Zealand because we know what they're going to come with. We have to play our best. You're going to have to come better prepared for Chinese Taipei. Now, Iraq, we got to be like, yo, this is the game that we must fear the most. So we have to be mentally focused and ready to give 110%.
I imagine these out of town trips with Gilas where obviously the great moments that everyone remembers takes place on the court, a big fourth quarter run, a big stop, a big shot. moment where someone hits a three from the corner and the whole bench, the coaches and the teammates stand up and applaud. But I've always been more curious about the unseen moments where maybe you guys are just hanging out in the lobby of a hotel or having breakfast together in the dining area the night after a big game, or the film session before a game or after. Can you explain what those moments are like? Because I know it's
Sure.
mostly
So
business, but
typically, of course, we do breakfast in the morning together. Normally, we have a time slot. And the window we did in Riga was really unique because all the teams were at the same hotel, besides Lafayette. Well, you'll see Brazil there, you saw Cameroon, the Philippines, and we're all eating breakfast in the same place. And you're about to play that team in an hour from now or 2 hours from now. So it's pretty unique in that situation. But who was also there? Georgia. Georgia was in our hotel. But what you do, man, your morning practice is really you go and you work on your game plan, and that's where you really got to lay the foundation on what we need to bring to the table for this game. What and then you go back to the hotel, you get your rest, you go have lunch, and then you just really say, in order for us to be prepared, get your rest, we have lunch, and then here we go. So it is a really unique situation. Going out to dinner together is a lot of fun. Getting to explore some of these towns are really, really cool. And actually, the bus rides to the games are pretty cool. You get a chance to sit on the bus and chat it up, win, loss after the game. It's a time to really build camaraderie and bond with one another.
those are the moments you'll be remembering for a long while. Coach Sean Chambers, thank you so much for joining me,
Thank
man. It's
you.
been great having you here. Thanks for answering all questions. And
Yes.
we'll be looking forward to watching your upcoming Filoil games at FEU and, of course, what you'll do in
Yeah.
your second season in the UAP.
Yeah, we're here to stay. We're here to compete. Like I told everybody, the last time we played LaSalle is when I said we're going to be a problem from everybody moving forward, and we have. And if you look at all our recent games against UAAP teams, we're doing pretty darn good.
For sure. Wait, I
Thank
forgot to
you.
ask you a question
Yep.
that I plan to ask all guests now, especially competitors. If you had to pick one, do you love to win more or do you hate to lose more?
Hate to lose. Hate.
That's why you're a champion.
Yep. Thank
Thank you,
you.
coach. Take
Yep.
care.